Well, this man's certainly been in the news a lot lately, allegedly providing bombshell testimony against the Biden family, things that happened prior to the election that now results in, well, that testimony that reveals the Biden campaign behind the infamous public statement on the Hunter Biden laptop. But there is so much more to this story that is not being reported to you. Does it involve the laptop from hell, as they call it? Of course it does. But that's not the full story. Remember, this was all just Trump and Russia. They did it all, but now miraculously, suddenly, out of nowhere, the entire storyline has changed and been redirected at Biden? If you know me and you know Lisa, we don't believe in coincidence, and this is no coincidence. We're going to tell you exactly why. But before we do, if you haven't subscribed to Lisa's channel yet, please just take a few seconds to do that. Make sure your bell is checked so you're alerted to upcoming broadcast. And as always, if you could subscribe to my channel, I can't tell you how much that means to me. Just take a few seconds. She'll put a link just above. But if you want to support us further, you go to restrictedrepublic.com. It's a platform we created to get around all this craziness, all this censorship, everything else going on in this wonderful world around us. It is audience-funded news. That way, the only people who determine the storyline is us and you. And we did that on purpose. No sponsors, no backers, just our own hard-earned money going back in and giving back the real news that matters. RestrictedRepublic.com. Right now, Lisa wants to give you discount code LISA, the number 5 at monthly checkout. That's $5 a month plus 14 days for free. Please take us up on it. Get over, join the family. Go ahead and communicate on a community page that isn't filtered or monitored at all times for anything you may or may not say against, well, the ruling party. And back to that ruling party we go, as this story has now broken loose. All about this story with Michael Morell and how he ties into, well, a series of dates you have to keep in mind throughout this entire broadcast. First one being October 14th of 2020, the breaking New York Post story that got people banned if you dare share it. Not a word. Remember, it was Russian disinformation. Biden's secret emails in the New York Post started it all. And, of course, the Biden campaign lashed out the very same day at the New York Post. How dare you publish that? Russian disinformation. That was the story at the time, of course. The tech giants blocked everything. Twitter, Facebook, eventually backtracking, but the damage was already done. They had blocked it. Of course, that gets in the mindset of every American preparing to vote, trying to gain their information, their understanding of both the candidates. And then out comes this. On Politico, the famous story, October 19th of 2020, Hunter Biden story is Russian disinfo. Dozens of former intelligence officials say, more than 50 of them. Well, one is now taking a new centerpiece in this entire story. I'm not going to read the letter. You know what it said. It's Russia, Russia, Russia. If we are right, this is Russia trying to influence how Americans vote in the election, and we believe strongly that Americans need to be aware of this, and they made sure we were all aware of it. More so than any of us imagined. Who signed it? The likes of Jim Clapper and John Brennan. Of course they did. But there's another signature that is far more important. But before we do this, remember, even Biden went ahead and referenced that Politico article here against Trump when everybody's trying to formulate opinion on who they're going to vote for. And it's why this story is so, well, not what it appears to be.
Very quick. There are 50 former national intelligence folks who said that what he's accusing me of is a Russian plan. They have said that this has all the five former heads of the CIA, both parties, say what he's saying is a bunch of garbage. Nobody believes it except his and his good friend Rudy Giuliani.
That was not Rudy Giuliani. That was Rudy Giuliani is what he meant to say. Boy, that was convenient to have that right in your pocket going into a debate. What an amazing way to sway the American people into believing Donald Trump was tied to Russia the entire time. But one of those signatories of those 50 intelligence, I always love using that word because it does not mean what they think it means, officers was Michael Morell. Former acting director, Central Intelligence Agency. Former deputy director of the CIA. Former director of analysis, CIA. Well, now he goes ahead and comes out to Jim Jordan. New testimony reveals Secretary Blinken, Antony Blinken, and Biden campaign behind the infamous public statement on the Hunter Biden laptop. Wow. All of a sudden, we've been talking about this for a long, long time. We found all the holes in this story, but now, suddenly, you're going to come out? Oh, you probably want us to believe that one of the committees have gone ahead and found all this information, and you're suddenly cooperating. Something doesn't add up, folks. Don't fall for the primetime storylines. Ex-CIA chief spills on how he's got spies to write false Hunter Biden laptop letter to help Biden. Spills on how he got all those spies to write a false Hunter Biden laptop. Why suddenly is this all coming out? Morell, identified as a potential CIA director under Biden, said he organized a letter to help Vice President Biden because I wanted him to win the election. Anybody else would be in trouble, in jail right now. But of course, in this group, it's perfectly allowed. Shouldn't be. Brings us to Antony Blinken. He gets a nice letter from Jim Jordan shortly thereafter, and Jim's got a few questions for him. Again, would never use those words, but I'll just go to Antony Blinken. As part of our oversight, we've learned that you played a role in the inception of this statement while serving as Biden campaign advisor, and we therefore request your assistance with our oversight. However, this is hearsay. You see, this isn't about Antony Blinken at all. Because even if you read the line of questioning, but prior to Secretary Blinken's call, you, Michael Morell, you did not have any intent to write this statement. I did not. Okay. So his call triggered. It did, yes. That intent in you. Yes, absolutely. So Antony Blinken didn't tell him, hey, I want you to write a letter immediately and make sure it gets out to these 50 folks. So more than likely, Antony Blinken's going to skate. But the damage is done again. Why is the damage done again? Should be the question. As part of our oversight, we've learned that you played a role in the inception of his statement while serving as Biden campaign advisor, and we therefore request your assistance with our oversight. There are two intents, they go on to state throughout the line of questioning of Michael Morell. One intent was to share our concern with the American people that the Russians were playing on this issue, and two, it was to help Vice President Biden. You wanted to help Vice President. Why? Because I wanted him to win. You wanted him to win, that's why. Yes, sir. Based on Morell's testimony, it is apparent the Biden campaign played an active role in the origins of the public statement. This coming off of Jim Jordan's letter to Antony Blinken. Based on the information we believe we've obtained to date, we believe that you possess material that would advance our oversight and inform potential legislative reforms. No criminal subpoenas? Nothing else? Legislative reforms that won't be followed? And then it won't be talked about until later when suddenly they're convenient to be talked about. See, I'm not getting into the details because that's not where the story is. The deep state knows exactly every maneuver they make, and suddenly to send one of their own deep state agents out into the public spotlight, allegedly busting Blinken with marginal testimony that although will go to point in one direction, that arrow's not going to point at Antony Blinken. It's going to go further. Because if you've been watching the media who's been propagating this story from the very beginning, suppressing it when convenient, well, now suddenly they want to talk about it. Jonathan Turley, Biden campaign got the media to buy into the Hunter laptop illusion, but now is Hunter Biden's laptop actually a big deal? Or Hunter Biden is out from the shadows? Interesting. You want us to believe as the American public that suddenly this story is important? Or is somebody else less important? Has somebody else done something to get you upset? IRS official is said to assert political meddling in Hunter Biden inquiry. You see, all the stories are coming out and they want you to simply believe that, man, we finally, you know what, folks? We got it. It's all coming out now. We can't believe this happened. We're so sorry. We are so sorry. Well, fortunately for you, you tune in to Lisa and me in Restricted Republic, and it really all links to one thing now, doesn't it? Biden says he will run for re-election soon, April 15th. Right around there and shortly thereafter, all these stories suddenly break loose. It appears the deep state doesn't want Mr. Biden to run again, or at least somebody up there in Capitol Hill. And he's become now, obviously, an inconvenience to them, or simply, they know he ain't going to win. So, rather than just try to convince him, or maybe they did and he didn't listen, it appears now they're going to go ahead and release the hounds, or the deep state hitmen, who decide when your political career begins and when your political career ends. And it appears, outside of anything you may be looking for, some major court trials, some major indictment, they found something far simpler. We'll just allow all the information to get out. And that more than likely, in our humble opinion, will convince Mr. Biden that it's probably best you just don't run next time around, because you ain't going to win. And we're going to make sure we try to find somebody who can. And that will be the next storyline that everybody has to watch. So don't fool for mainstream media storylines. You know if they're talking about it. Well, as we've learned, unfortunately, usually the truth is in the opposite direction. I love you all. Until next time, Godspeed and God bless. Justice Knight, signing out.